On this episode, I talk with authors Micheal, Tichy, and Evan Shelton. You may also know Evan from one of my favorite horror podcasts, The Lurking Transmission, or from his killer black metal band, Grave Gnosis. We talk about the upcoming music, film, and strange fiction festival that Evan and Micheal are doing called VoidCon. This seems like it's going to be a really killer festival, and highly recommend if you're nearby or willing to make the trip, check it out. It's going to be killer. So this was a fun episode talking with these two, and I hope you dig it. After you're done with this episode, make sure you check out my fellow horsemen of the podcast Apocalypse, Everything Went Black podcast, Into the Necrosphere, the Necromaniacs podcast, Break the Apocalypse, Iblis Manifestations, and the Soul Knocks podcast. And also, if you dig what I do, leave me a good rating on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to me at. I'm on all podcast platforms, and also feel free to follow me on social media, rwolf666. That's on Instagram, X, Facebook, all those different places. So thanks so much for listening, and hope you enjoy. So, yeah, guys, thanks for being on my podcast.
Oh, hey, happy to be here, dude.
Oh, yeah. Evan, this is our second time talking, and first time talking with you, Micheal, so pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, glad to meet you.
He's a good dude. I can vouch for Micheal. He's good. I can vouch for Brandon, too. He's a good dude.
Appreciate that. So, yeah, man, you're about to embark on VoidCon, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, we are. Hopefully it goes well. You know, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, sooner or later they will come.
Yeah. At the end of day two.
Like, they say like most businesses like lose money for the first 5 years, so we should definitely hope to beat that.
Yeah, let's hope so, man.
We're not going to make it 5 years is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So please come out and support us.
Yeah, please come to our con.
So for my listeners and stuff, can y'all explain what VoidCon is and how do you get there and all that other good stuff?
Sure, man. We're in Huntington, West Virginia, October 13th and 14th. That's a Friday and a Saturday, at the Hilton Doubletree in Huntington, West Virginia, which is right on downtown. The whole con is pretty much self-contained right there in the hotel. Everything's going to be happening in this big, like the ballroom thing that we rented downstairs and elsewhere. And then we're closing down things with the after party. The after party's like 2 blocks away from the hotel, like diagonal across from the hotel. So you get there by, getting your ass to Huntington however you can. There's an airport if you got to do that, or you can drive yourself there, and then come down to the Hilton Doubletree and hang out with us. It's gonna be, it's a horror con, but it's also horror adjacent. So we got just things that have like an unsettling sort of vibe, and art that has an unsettling sort of vibe. Doesn't necessarily have to be straight horror. It's largely kind of literary horror fiction based, but also we got filmmakers, we got visual artists. If all goes well, we'll also have some performance artists. If all goes as well as can possibly go, we'll also have some performers of the pornographic variety will be involved in VoidCon.
Nice.
We're just trying to like spread things across art forms, and like I said, do a horror and horror adjacent thing, and do something that's different. We're not doing Cthulhu plushies and pay $40 to get a photo of Bruce Campbell or whatever. It's going to be people you don't know, underground artists and writers and filmmakers, and None of that glad hand and like pay for a photo shit, and none of that Cthulhu plushie shit. It's gonna be, we're trying to build a thing that you're not gonna get
It,
anywhere else. It's like a
yeah, I mean, if you look at the list of authors that are coming, like, it leans heavy into that, like true kind of transgressional side of horror, or like, the genre defying stuff, I mean, a lot of people like talk edgy, but like, this shit really is edgy.
Mhm.
right, and not edgy like rape van edgy. Like it's we're
Right.
it's truly transgressive, like Michael said. You got people that they're gonna take you outside of your box with the ideas that they put down in word form, and that's largely what we built it around is that sort of thing. So we're hoping to create something a little different for people, and hoping that people who show up will be into that vibe and help us snowball it into another thing, a bigger thing next year.
That's killer. And is this is this the first year doing this, or like second year?
Yeah, first year.
First year.
Yeah, it's really like it's a piggyback off we did a book tour in 2022. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah. It was a year ago this coming Labor Day weekend. So
Okay. And we called that thing Noise in the Void. And it was like our idea with Noise in the Void was a book tour that was also like a metal punk tour. And instead of you getting, 5 or 6 bands on a bill, you got 5 or 6 dudes reading from books that they were trying to sell to you from a table afterwards. And when it came time to try and put together another tour for this year, largely me and Edwin, my partner at Castade, we're just kind of broke compared to last year. We were
Mhm.
perhaps a little bit more financially stable in the fall of 2022. And we're trying to figure out how to do another one, but how to do it cheaper, and I was like, man, what if we did one thing somewhere for like a weekend and got people to come to us, And Edwin's like a con, man. And I was like, yeah, I guess, yeah. What if we just do a con, and it turned into this.
That's killer, man. Like I love the way you're doing this, how you're doing this. Making it like you said, almost like a metal tour, but with like authors and shit, man. Like really dark and underground stuff. I think that's really fucking cool. It's like almost a black metal book tour, almost. You know what I mean? Like has a black metal, nastiness feel to it.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. We want we wanted to feel, we want the feel of transgressive art to be brought to the space that we're presenting. We want you to walk into a place that doesn't feel normal. That's going to take you outside of that, and I think we've, we'll see how it goes. It's hypothetical still. It's all still.
yeah,
It's all
I think
still imagining.
with the
Mhm.
roster that we've got, like, it's I would say the statistical probability of it being like pretty fucking outrageous is high.
Word, yeah, I do too. Yeah, we got some heavy hitters and weird and transgressive horror, namely, I mean, for me, don't, and also let me preface this by saying it's been a long day. I've been out on the river in a tube for a few hours, and my head has been baked by extreme heat and a lot of weed smoke and a few Modelo's. So I'm gonna certainly forget some people and pass some people over. But we got Joe Koch coming down, and Joe don't fucking play. Like if you're a part of indie horror whatsoever, you know him. It's like Joe's
Right.
work is, for me, fucking top of the heap as far as weirdness and just like a dazzling fucking skill level. Like you read
Yeah,
Joe's
yeah,
shit and like he's like somebody who, whatever, if things were different, Joe's shit would be in Barnes and Noble. It would be blowing up
yeah,
everywhere. He's like the fucking David Lynch of, of like indie horror.
Right.
Um,
yeah,
and
100%.
yeah. And we got Kyle Winkler. Kyle Winkler's shit fucking hits hard and weird. We got Charlene Ellsby, who is, dare I say, a better Chuck Palahniuk.
Nice.
Just
Yes.
just like Charlene shit is, there's no end to how nasty and weird and dark it's gonna get. But it also, I mean, as far as I know, I ain't read all of Charlene's stuff, but I don't think she fucks around with supernatural stuff at all. I think it's all kind of like grounded, straight up human horror, but it's fucking filthy and disturbing. Just
Yeah, it is.
fucked up.
It goes so fucking hard. I mean, the thing is, I like the Polaniak, comparison. Although, I mean, Polaniak like kind of uh delves into like the whimsical a little bit more. Like Charlene is in touch with
Sure.
like the very worst impulses that fucking flash into people's brains that they're ashamed to talk about and don't think other people feel. And she just fucking lays it all out on the page, and it's just like holy fucking shit. Like
Nasty.
yeah, like you don't feel seen by her stuff so much as you feel like, the guy crawling along the prison wall with the spotlight on you. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
discovered.
Yeah.
Was
And
she-
then we
would-
got go on.
Oh, go ahead. I was saying, is she the most, would you say, most extreme out of the guests there when it comes to authors and stuff? Or?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to say on in this roster. I mean, Paula Ash is coming. Her stuff is fucking crazy too. I don't know if you've read "We Are Here to Hurt Each Other," but there's
No, I
some
haven't.
stuff in there that goes really goddamn hard. O.F. Sierra,
Yeah, OF
there's
stuff's nasty too.
in my opinion, the roster that we've got are like the people that that you should be paying attention to in terms of like up and coming like legit horror writers that are doing something really interesting with the genre, instead of kind of just rehashing the same tropes. And
Mhm.
like I've heard somebody, I remember like when like COVID was going down and somebody was like talking about how they had returned to horror because they found it comforting, and the reason why they found it comforting was because of a certain predictability in terms of how the stories play out, like that there's these these traditional stories that they like returning to. And
Mhm.
I'm not
Right
gonna
on.
I'm not gonna shit on somebody for that, but that's not like the horror that I'm interested in. Like I'm interested in the shit that like takes you to
Sure.
places you haven't been before, and uses genre as a way to like to really push the literary envelope, so
Mhm.
and that's what we got.
Nice. That sounds fucking killer. Like a lot of these authors, I need to get my ass up and read. I'm still like stuck on certain authors I read all the time. I need to get more in the underground stuff. There's so much good shit out there,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
the same, dude. Like I'm real bad about reading the same 8 or 10 people that I've been reading my whole life. But I've spent the past couple of years, digging more into the indie stuff, and I found a lot of great writers. I mean, I wouldn't be doing any of this if I hadn't found cool writers. And not a single person was invited to VoidCon if we don't believe in them 100%.
Mhm.
Like nobody was invited just because they could afford to pay for their table, or just because they're popular or whatever.
Exactly. Like you didn't invite anybody just because you thought that they would be a draw. I mean, like we the people we invited, I goddamn hope should be a draw for
Right,
people, but
Right, but are they like obvious big draws? No, well, not all of them anyway. There are a few, but I mean, we have Brian Keene. Brian Keene is a man who he ain't got no day job. Brian Keene makes his money with words about fucking werewolves and dudes with swords and shit,
Mhm.
And that's he might be the only one. Michael's he the only cat we got coming to PortCon who's like not a day job writer.
I don't know. I mean,
Who's
as far
like,
as I
Mom,
know,
I'm a
shit.
real writer. I think Brian is perhaps our guy when it comes to that. And he does great. I mean, Brian, like I said, Brian pays the bills with words. And that's dope. And
nice.
He has people show up when he shows up somewhere. So he's our draw. We'll see what happens.
I think I've read Dark Hollow by him, but I haven't really ventured into the rest of his stuff, man. But I really need to.
What was that like?
What's that?
Dark Hollow. Do you remember what was it about?
Shit, it's been a long time since I read that one. Wasn't that a werewolf one, or am I mistaken on that?
Oh shit. Okay, cool.
I can't remember. I can't remember for sure now. I'm pretty sure I read that one back in the day.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I really I need to read his stuff. There's a few people that are coming to the con that I have yet to read any of their stuff, and I'm trying to at least like track down a short story from every single person so that when I show up, I'll have read something from everybody, because part of it is a writer nerd thing. Part of it is like putting creators together to network, to get to know each other, perhaps create something cool out of this meeting, and
yeah, I mean, I think I've said before, I think it's, like it's the kind of community we're trying to build is like, a place for people who don't really feel like they have a place in kind of a lot of the sort of mainstream corners of horror. So
right,
I think
yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think kind of providing a space for those people to kind of make those connections, I think is a really valuable thing.
Cool. Yeah, and that's part of what went into who we chose to invite to the thing, right? Was we wanted people who you don't already see on all the cons already, people who you don't already see smashing fucking great book deals and getting shit tons of publicity, and and also we avoided the kind of people that we see doing what writer nerds call transactional exchange and friendship, which is just sort of like that. The people that you only, their whole internet presence is just like kissing other creators' asses to try and make homies and climb some kind of ladder or whatever. We wanted real connections, people that we felt like we had a real connection with, and people that we felt like we didn't see doing that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's cool because I mean, there's plenty other like mainstream conventions and all for that. I like that. I like how this one is being set up, man. Like this sounds so like dark and gritty and dangerous. I love that shit.
Yeah, I hope so, man. We certainly, with the films that we're screening, we ain't watch it. Well, Redneck Zombies is a fun movie, but it's also still really grimy, and it's also still really dark. But the other two movies that we're screening are a real kick in the nuts kind of nasty ass movies.
Can you talk about those or?
Sure.
I don't know if you're like trying to keep it a secret or anything until you get to the con or not.
Yeah, no problem. Well, so the Redneck Zombies thing, that's gonna be rad because we got this guy who goes by the name Gringo Fantastico, and Gringo Fantastico has a show on Trauma Now, which is Trauma's streaming service, and it's called Fantastico Disaster Piece Theater is what it's called, and he does sort of a classic horror host thing, right? Like he's screening B movies and he's clowning and interjecting and that sort of thing. And he, like him and our homie Krista Pollier, who's a great writer and will be there tabling herself, she directs this show that we're talking about, this Disaster Piece Theater. They know Lloyd Kaufman, right? Like they know Uncle Lloyd because they work at Trauma.
Right.
And we got them to ask Lloyd if we could screen a Trauma movie, and he was like, depends on which one. Ask him which one. And I said, ask him about Redneck Zombies, and he was like, yeah, sure, knock yourselves out. So Redneck Zombies is a shot on video zombie movie that's, it's a horror comedy, but also it's fucking full on disturbing at some points.
Right.
But it's also ridiculous because it's fucking trauma. And then we've got Derek Carey from Astro Radio Z, the awesome fucking cult film podcast. He's coming to screen his film Hole in the Wall, and Hole in the Wall is an anthology film. It's him and a bunch of Midwestern homies of his that are all filmmakers. And Hole in the Wall is, and I'm not even fucking around here, it's like old school John Waters. I don't mean Hollywood John Waters. I mean like OG John Waters. Like you gonna see somebody's asshole in this movie. John Waters. That kind of John Waters mixed with
eating dog turds, John Waters.
Yeah, eating dog turds, John Waters mixed with like something 70s and grimy, like Toby Hooper or something. Just it's a wild fucking movie, and there are gonna be people looking at us like, what the fuck are you making us watch? And I can't wait. Derek directed one of the 5 stories I think that's in it, and he also directed the wraparound story, which takes place, between the others. And it's again a truly transgressive film in a lot of ways, in classic exploitation ways where it's just really fucking gross at times. But then also it also is artful and has things to say, and it runs the whole spectrum from exploitation to transgression. And then we have Scooter McCrae coming. Scooter McCrae is a filmmaker who he did Shatter Dead, which is my favorite shot on video horror film of all time. It's a crazy ass fucking zombie movie. And he did 16 Tongues, which is a sort of cyberpunk noir with a little bit of porn mixed in thing. And then his newest flick is called Saint Frankenstein, and it is about Frankenstein, but in the modern era, or maybe even like the near future. And Frankenstein has gone full transhuman with it, because they are immortal and they can interchange their parts, right?
Nice.
So like Frank doesn't have to be a man or a woman. Frank can be whatever they want, and that's what they're doing. Is they have surgically altered themselves into this sort of really exotic lover, and they meet up with people on the internet to fuck. And the movie is Frank meeting up with somebody in a hotel to fuck. And Frankenstein's played by Melanie Gaydos, the model and actor. And I don't know if you fucking Googled Melanie Gaydos, you would be like, oh, I know her, because she's such a striking figure. Like she has some manner of genetic condition which makes her like hairless, and I think she also doesn't have pores or something. She's like Michael Berryman. I think she has the same condition that Michael Berryman has, and she's like a really striking figure.
Right.
And she plays Frankenstein in Saint Frankenstein, and that's what we're screening with Scooter there to hang out and talk about it, and talk about making movies in New York in the late 80s and the 90s and the punk scene and that sort of thing.
That's badass. Yeah, I've seen Redneck Zombies. I haven't seen the other two, so that's super interesting to me. They sound up my alley. I do like watching some crazy shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know you dig some shot on video stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the worst ones that kind of killed my weekend, man. And this is like, it's not super underground. Everybody knows what this film is. It was, especially now, Gummo, right? Gummo.
Oh hell yeah,
weekend,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's just the cat killing in there, dude, is what fucked me up. Everything else, I don't give a shit. But like the cat stuff, I'm like, God damn, man. I can deal with people dying and shit all day long, blood and guts, but like animal stuff kind of gets me a little bit, But
oh yeah, yeah. You want to talk about like a black metal movie, like a feels dangerous movie. Like, that's going.
Great soundtrack too.
Hell yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. We were Edwin was like, we should try and get Harmony Korine to come to VoidCon. I was like,
Oh,
find
that
his
would be
email.
perfect.
That might have been a
But
little out of
no.
budget.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Not to
You never
mention,
know with
Harmony
him though.
Korine says they're no longer interested in making movies, right? Like, did you
Right.
see that
Well,
interview?
yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I think if somebody gave him the money, he'd make a movie, but
Yeah,
The
I could
last movie
see
he
it.
did was Spring Breakers, right?
yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
think
think
so,
so.
right?
I think that
That
was his
movie's
last
fucking
one.
weird as shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some
definitely
wild
weird.
shit.
It's not near as like
Mhm.
shocking for his stuff, but it is super entertaining.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
May you be surprised though
Well, and
what
it's
some
like
people. Oh, go on, Michael.
it's one of those movies too where like I mean I saw it like when it first came to streaming, and I pride myself on being out of the loop in a lot of ways so that like I don't spoiler shit for myself, like so I'm not on like a lot of like movie pages or anything like that, like so like it's the kind of movie where I knew absolutely nothing about it going in. I didn't even know Harmony Korine did it until later, and so it's like you don't know what you're watching at first, like
Right.
it's like like what the fuck is like what kind of story is this, like it's just so
Oh
like I mean
yeah.
that's kind of the fun of
Mm.
it to me. It's like one of those movies that's like an experience the first time that and it's great that like there's no way you're going to recapture that because like you're not going to be like dumbstruck by it the second time.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was wild, and I didn't expect that. I knew he was doing it and stuff, but the way it looked, it was so like bright and shiny looking and glossy. I'm like, what is this shit? Like, did he go like super mainstream with it or whatever? But he still kind of
Mhm.
kept that like unpredictable weirdness about it, still enjoyable.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if you go back and watch fucking Kids, that's another movie that I would say would ruin your weekend. It's so fucking
Oh
depressing, man.
yeah,
Oh,
man.
Jesus
God.
Yeah.
Christ, yeah.
Yeah.
And half those kids are really just fucking, they weren't even actors, man. And it's like local skateboarders or just local kids there. And a lot of them kids
Yeah.
died super early and stuff, man. Like in real life. It was fucking brutal.
Didn't he make like some
Yeah.
kind of post-apocalyptic like fucking like throwback
What?
sci-fi movie? I swear.
Uh,
Like I don't know, back in the days when I was working at a video store, like I swear I remember, and I could have just completely fucking concocted this shit. I was doing a lot of drugs at the time, but
Sure.
yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into that. I should have done my research before like talking out of hand.
No, just make it up, man. We're on the air. Whatever you
yeah,
say is a cold hard fact.
I know we did Trash Humpers, but I wouldn't call that post apocalyptic. Have y'all seen Trash Humpers?
That was
I
that
don't
was like
I don't think so.
Oh,
present
God.
apocalyptic. Yeah, Trash Humpers is crazy as fuck.
It's just fucking weird, man. Like people in old people mass humping trash cans, and this is just super
Yeah.
fucking weird. I don't know if I would call it a
Yeah.
movie, but
Yeah.
I think one of the latest like things I've seen. Well, this has been more than a few years ago, and I always recommend this. People was like, "Hey, what's the most brutal movie to watch?" or whatever. It's like, all right, I got one for you. You ever heard of Atroz? Have y'all seen Atroz before? It's also known as Atrocious in the States.
No, I don't think so, man.
Oh
No.
God. All right, yeah. This one's extremely brutal. It's a Mexican film, and it deals with like cartel stuff and everything. I classify
shit.
as a horror film. It is extreme as fuck. As long as I guess you see the one that's like uncut and everything, which that was streaming on Tubi, and it goes by Atroz, but it also goes by Atrocious. So you see either one of those two. But one of the
Huh.
most extreme things I've ever seen. There's one scene in there where they and it's all super realistic with the violence. They're like gutting this one guy, and they got like a bag over his head, and they took the bag off his head and started feeding the shit out of his intestines.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it looks
Jesus
extremely
Christ.
brutal, man. Yeah, there's no
It
like
was
trauma
like
look to it or nothing. It's just like, god
Faces of
damn.
Death, but like scripted and straight up as a cartel horror flick.
Yeah, it's a one and done. Like I watch it one time, I'm
Wow.
good. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate what it did and everything, but I always recommend that to people. Like, oh, I need to see something brutal, man. What's the most brutal movie? Because as soon as you tell somebody, oh, you like horror, they're like, what's the most brutal movie? I'm like, okay, I got one for you, and it's fucking traumatizing forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that reminds me of what I was gonna say earlier, which was I was like Edwin said we should try and get Harmony Korine, and again it might be out of budget, but you might be surprised like who would show up for nothing.
Hmm.
um and Felissa Rose is one. So we listeners of Horror Wolf 666, Evan and Dean Shelton, yours truly is. I go way back with Barbara Crampton. I'm DM homies with Barbara Crampton. Me and Crampton be yucking it up in the DMs.
And I've seen it.
We've been,
I'm right there with you on Twitter with that, or whatever the fuck it's called now. Barbara Crampton's a fucking vampire, and she's awesome.
yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she
obviously,
literally looks better every year. It's
oh
crazy.
yeah, it's
Yes.
insane. So we decided to do this con. I'm like, well, I'm gonna see if Barbara will come. I know that's ridiculous, and there's no way she's gonna say yeah, but I'm gonna ask her. And so I hit her up, and she was like, look, I don't do first year cons for anybody, period, because I don't want to ask you for money up front because I know you don't have any and you're trying to build something. And because it's first year, I'm probably not there probably won't be enough people there, to make it worth my while.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that's totally fair.
Oh
The
yeah.
woman lives in fucking LA somewhere, and or ask her to come to bumfuck West Virginia for nothing to hang out with, like, who knows if nobody fucking shows up, it'll just be us 60 nerds sitting around at tables like trying to sell each other shit.
Right.
And to have Crampton there would be, embarrassing to say the least. And so I got it, but she was like, look, here's the number to my agency and my agent's name. This is his email. He's really fucking cool. Felissa Rose is with his agency as well. I happen to know that she has no guarantee and will do wild shit and is really fun and cool. Hit her up and call him, call my agent and ask him to give you the list of people who have no guarantee, and then start hitting people up, whatever.
Hmm.
And so I actually, other than contacting Felissa Rose, I did not follow up on any of that. I actually didn't ever call Crampton's agent or email him or anything, because it's like I said, we're not trying to do that thing,
Right.
and we just invited Crampton because it's fucking Crampton.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to. You got to fucking at least try. And that's cool she got back to you
Yeah,
like
I
that. I
just
mean, she
like
and give
had
you all
to.
that fucking free information. That's pretty fucking cool,
Oh
man.
yeah, she was so cool about it. And with Felissa, like I invited Felissa because I feel like she rides that line where VoidCon wants to be. Like she
Hmm.
was in a transgressive horror movie that still to this day makes people not sure what to think. You
Right.
know, um, and she's a fucking hoot. We all know from being Last Drive-In fans that she's just fucking hilarious and cool to be around, it seems. And she'd be like a cool addition. And we were gonna, our pitch to her was come and tell stories about, you know, sleepaway camp. Just
Hmm.
like plug us right into what it was like when you were a kid making that movie, and forget the discourse around it. Like just tell us some behind the scenes scoop on fucking making that thing.
Right.
But Felissa Rose did not respond to our emails. So that's cool.
Yeah, she's always so damn busy because I've
I'm
contacted with
sure.
her before too, and
Yeah.
she's got back to me before. But like all the
Yeah.
cons and all she does, she's constantly fucking doing those. She's
Hell
all, I
yeah.
mean, she's so fucking busy, but she's such a badass. Like her and Barbara Crampton are the fucking best, man. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
cool too, like when you're on Twitter and shit, when we're doing like our Joe Bob night, where we're doing a live tweeting, they fucking tweet back at you. I'm like, that's just the coolest shit.
Yeah, they're cool. They're cool. And yeah, I'm sure like to give Felissa Rose we're like 2 weeks before Halloween with VoidCon. So to get Felissa Rose to come to your thing just before Halloween, you probably need to holler at her like a year and a half out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I bet she's busy as fuck, like from the beginning of October to the end. But
That's
what
total
else?
goals for like the next one y'all do. You know, you can totally get her ahead of time and stuff, and just be ready to go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Barbara Crampton and Felissa Rose, get both of them there on the second
that'd
year.
be
Oh
great.
man,
That'd
you
be
ever
so
see people
rad.
flying out? Be fucking killing. And
That'd be so
hopefully,
rad.
next year I'd be to make it up there to see y'all. You know, y'all do the second one and everything. So that'd be fucking
That'd
cool.
be dope, man.
Last time I
That'd
was
be
in West
great.
Virginia, I was playing in West Virginia, and I got fucking sick. I think it was right before we played the show. I ended up eating Subway for breakfast, dude, and it was the worst sick I've ever had, dude. I could not stop throwing up and everything else. It was bad. We were up there by like where those caves are up in where's the fucking like cool ass caves up in West Virginia, and is it Lawrence? No, not Lawrence.
I just know Mammoth in Kentucky, but
okay, I know of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's out in a super hilly place. I just can't remember the fucking name of the damn town. But anyways, it was a super cool town. It had these really awesome caves and all. And like you could go in there. People were playing instruments in the caves and shit, and like with all the killer acoustics. And I couldn't even get out of I couldn't get out of the hotel room. The fucking West Virginia subway fucked me up.
Oh man. Damn.
We still ended up playing a good show that night though, so that was good. I got better luck. So yeah.
Well, you could have just you could have just gone like full on like crazy and just barfed like in the middle of your set, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that famous video of the dude from Rewake like just like in mid song just like going like and just like a giant amount of vomit coming out of his mouth, and then he just keeps singing?
Oh shit!
I haven't seen that one.
I was at Maryland Death Fest. I was like 6 feet away from that dude when that happened.
What band was it?
Rewake. Like I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Like
is it RWAKE? Yes, Wake. Yeah, Wake's awesome. I'm friends with the lead singer of that band, CT. I've had him on the podcast before. So it was CT throwing up there.
He's the dude, I'm pretty sure, who just
yeah, he's a singer.
Yeah, like look it up on YouTube. That shit was fucking wild, man. It was, and everybody there, you know, I mean, like having experienced that, everybody just assumed like dude was just like shit faced fucked up, and he's just like posting later, he's just like, no, I had the fucking flu, like I hadn't had anything to drink, I was just that fucking wrecked, and it was like, you know, you're fucking what are you gonna do, like sit out your set at Maryland Death Fest? So
it's pretty like, fucking metal. You keep on going like that.
10 years ago at least, but
yeah, Wake is so good, dude. I've seen them at where was it at? It was at the Masquerade, the old Masquerade in Georgia before I guess they made the new one. It was them they were playing with Neurosis, and Neurosis is one of my favorite bands of all time.
That's a fucking great combo.
Best show ever. I don't think it's been topped yet, and I've seen a lot of cool bands. I think the Wake and Neurosis show was just it was just I guess a spiritual experience, you know what I mean? Like it was something insane.
Killer. From what I understand, they moved back to the original Masquerade location.
Oh, I haven't been down there in a long time, so I didn't know that.
That's what folks are telling me. I haven't been up there since they moved. I never went to when they were down in underground Atlanta for a little while, but you know, friends of mine went and said it was terrible.
What, the new one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they're back in the old one, sweet.
Yeah, that would be cool if they are back at the old one. So I don't know on that one. Next show I'm going to is going to be not in Georgia. It's going to be in South Carolina. It's going to be at this Primitive Man and Crowbar is going on tour. I don't know if y'all know that, but they're going on a big ass fucking tour, dude. And if you've never seen Primitive Man, or you know, they're so nasty.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually listened to them in a while.
Oh, they're just so fucking angry, you know, like Ethan's lyrics and they're just fucking angry as shit, man, and I love it. Best workout music. I usually tag you with some of that good workout music, so, you know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We get good responses off or workout motivation tweets or on X or whatever the fuck it's called now, you know?
Yeah. X, yeah. I call it X, and my girlfriend's always like, "What do you call it, X?" I'm like, "That's what it's called. What? That's what it's called. It's not Twitter anymore, man. It's X now."
It's so wild. Like after all these years of having Twitter, now it's called fucking X. And then the thing on the
Well,
phone
that's
looks just like the Threads app. Like they're the same color and almost like a similar design. So I'm confused of what's what sometimes, you know?
Oh,
well,
really?
that's always the most sound business decision to do with like a brand that's highly recognizable and like well known for like a decade is to
Yeah. Is
rebrand
to
it with the
change
most
it
generic name possible.
Right.
Like
completely.
that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah. That's
like I'm not a
great.
big conspiracy guy, but like the idea, the conspiracy, like it makes way more sense that Elon is trying to like run this thing into the ground than it does that he's just that bad at what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it makes way more
Right.
sense that he's trying to subvert like what Twitter is represented, like which it like largely throughout the world it's been an incredible like communication asset for like people in places where like they're like seriously being suppressed by government or whatever and like
Mm,
time and again it was like people were using it to communicate during protests and shit like that, so it's like
right.
it's definitely like like its essence is this as a subversive thing, so it absolutely makes sense to me that it's just like, hey, like
Hmm.
we don't have to make a competitor. We just have to like get a hold of this thing and turn it into something
Fuck
utterly
it up.
unusable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Damn,
wild on there
yeah.
now. There's so many porn bots on there now, and like,
Oh, and
bots. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
it's
Shit.
impossible to block. Like it used to be, you could like like if you did a steady job of blocking advertisers, like you didn't see a lot of them on your feed. There's just too many now. It's like impossible. Plus,
Hmm.
I'm fairly convinced that they like do like hard resets on your account on a regular basis, so shit that you blocked is just no longer blocked. Because I
Right.
swear I've
Oh,
blocked some of the same like accounts like 3 or 4 times now.
damn.
And I use that. I've used Twitter so much for like promotion with the band stuff and also with the podcast. That's the reason I even have social media. Is it's all for promotion. I started using social media when I was in my band and stuff, my full band, and now I just do my synth stuff, my independent stuff I'm doing now. But that's the whole reason I having social media was like the promotion aspect. And now what they're doing with the Twitter X, whatever the fuck it's called there, like they're kind of fucking some shit up, man. I'm like, I can't really reach the people I used to be able to reach because you got so much dumb shit in the way now.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
Right.
I'm the same way, and it's just like, okay, like now on across like 3 different platforms, I'm not getting as much like response to posts as I was just on that one, and so it's like you're having to work 3 times as hard and getting like a quarter of the response to your efforts. It's
Right.
terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of
So
pushed me into making a only for the podcast a TikTok, and I did not want to do a TikTok for like ever. I was like, fuck this shit. But I've been using clips from the podcast and making those into like little video samples. And I've been getting a
yeah.
really good response on there. I'm just trying to migrate people from there to check out the podcast. So that's what I'm doing. So like the other day is I posted a
Huh.
fucking video from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Just a random clip of Bill Mosley saying one of his famous lines in there, chop top and everything. And they're getting 27,000 views. Fucking
Holy
insane.
shit.
Dude, yeah, this is a simple clip. It took me like 5 minutes to edit the damn thing down and everything and do all my little shit with that. 27,000 views. I'm like, that's wild. So now I have
Shit.
another idea how I'm going to try to push that audience onto the podcast stuff. And I'm going to see if it works. I'm going to start this out next week, but I got a plan now. Trying to figure out the
Yeah.
algorithm, like it's wild.
Man,
Right.
27,000 makes me want to check out.
And
Shit.
yeah, and if you just like all like horror stuff or literature and everything, that's all you're gonna see. You're not gonna see those fucking idiots dancing and all that shit and fucking drinking chlorine or whatever the kids do nowadays. You won't see none of that
Yeah.
shit. So you
Yeah,
can like
well,
keep
the
it
kids
like
won't be interested. Yeah, if I went on TikTok, it's just gonna be videos of me like reading like heinous shit. So
and they
I'm
got
gonna
people
lose some
doing
kids
that.
pretty quickly.
They have people that do that. They
Oh.
just read literature and stuff, like little like clips and stuff of them reading and shit. And like, this is fucking cool. But as long as you keep liking stuff like that, it'll stay that. You won't see none other garbage or whatever. So he will be followed by a few grandmas, like some really scary grandmas on there. That seems to be a thing with older folks. I got some
Okay.
followers on there. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like some wrong turn type shit,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So beware of that, some wrong turns / hills have eyes. I don't know how these people have phones or computers, but they do. And they will
Man.
follow you on there. So just be
I mean,
warned
this
about
is like a total sidebar, but I've been working my way through the Wrong Turn movies again, and like,
Oh, what?
like I have the box set, and then like 6 isn't in the box set, so I had to buy that separately. So I finally watched 6 yesterday,
Whoa.
and 6 is like the most like fucking deranged and horniest of the fucking Wrong Turn movies.
Yeah, they don't give a
It's
fuck about the makeup in that one. Like, how they don't give a fuck about the makeup. This is like, all right,
seriously, like Wrong Turn 6 is like a few penetration shots away from being like incest horror porn. Like, it's just
Yikes.
like thematically it is like entirely about fucking incest,
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, and deviates, it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna show you a little bit of the fucking mutants, but really this is like the like the focus of this movie is more on the side of the family that is and they the canon, I don't know, the mythology of Wrong Turn sort of like changes over the course of the 6 films, to the point that by Wrong Turn 6, like the idea is that there's like this old Southern family that's just fucking producing these mutant offspring. So they need like the normal presenting fucking people to like, fuck and make these mutants, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
Oh, shit.
Anyway, it's a fucking wild ride. Like, it's,
All right, you sold me. I'm gonna watch it.
The third one's really good too. It's got Henry Rollins, and I think it's the third one's got Henry Rollins.
That's the second one. Wrong Turn.
That's the
2
second one? Yeah, I like the second
Rollins,
one.
And it's my favorite Wrong Turn movie because of that Rollins character. Like, I mean, I'm a fan of Rollins in like television and movies in general, but like I feel like he really like that role was like fucking written for him. It's so fucking, the shit that he does in that movie is so fucking great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the first 2 are definitely the best.
I read an interview with him once, and like he was talking about, when he first started doing like television and movies, and he did what's that motorcycle gang TV show he was doing?
Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, when he was season he was in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah.
One of the guys like took him aside after one of his scenes, and they're just like, dude, you don't need to go so hard. Like, and because he was just beating the shit out of himself, and he's just like, he's like, I'm not a fucking professional stuntman or an actor, so like if he's in a fight, he's just like tossing himself into shit, like just beating the fuck out of himself. He's like, I don't know, that's the only thing I knew how to do.
Yeah, I've known people that met him before. He is super, super intense on stage and off stage. He's a very intense person.
I've seen him do spoken word like a couple of times, and it's amazing. Like he's channeled like ADHD power to like the to the pinnacle that it can be taken to. Like he can stand in front of a crowd and like take little sips of water and fucking talk to you for like 2.5 hours. It's fucking crazy. So, but yeah, it's he's a trip.
Gnarly.
What were you about to say, Evan, about something have you seen something? You said something about that.
Shit. Oh, right. Feast. Have you ever seen Feast?
Yeah, Feast was fucking wild as hell when that first came out. I think they did 3 of those too, and they just got crazier on each one. But the first one's my favorite.
Was like a Project Greenlight movie, right? Like,
yeah,
it was.
Fucking Gulager.
yeah. Clue Gulager's fucking son.
So like me and my friends were like watching that show as like the movie was being made, and then like when it came to the theater, me and a buddy went to see it like opening weekend.
Oh shit.
So we're sitting in the theater, and there are not a lot of people in the theater.
Right.
But
right.
at one point, there's a scene where like they've they're surviving the night in this place, and like dawn's coming, and someone sitting in the theater said, "Sun's coming up," and like I fucking quote that dude all the fucking time because it was just the most like fucking dumb observation to make. Like Amy, my wife, and I, we do like sun's coming up like, to this day, like fucking 20 years later, sun's coming up. Because they just said it like really plainly like that too. It's just like note to self or something. I'm just like, why do you fucking need to Anyway, that's my memory of peace. Like my strongest memory of peace is the fucking weirdo in the theater who said sun's coming up.
Nice.
And I hope they hear this podcast and they're just
hopefully they're listening.
You never know. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. We need another Feast movie if they are listening. I think we are due for another Feast. Feast 4. Yeah. Might be actually Feast 5.
You got it in you.
Yeah. I don't think he's done like a damn thing since Feast 3.
Well.
Poor dude.
Feast kind of reminds me in a weird way. It's like a Tremors type film in a weird way. Remember when the Tremors got legs? I think in the second, or when it kind of evolved a little bit. That's what they remind me of.
Yeah. It's got a similar aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean it has that horror. And just that kind of like, harkens back to like kind of an old school like monster movie type story.
Yeah, creature stuff. Yeah.
That's something we don't have enough of nowadays, is the creature feature, man. I fucking love creature films, and we really don't have that many,
Right.
No, it's a niche thing, and like to do it right requires practical effects. Like nobody wants to fuck around with anymore. Like I don't know, and yet whenever somebody makes one of those movies, like people fucking love that shit,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some. I seen one today with a really badass creature, and then it was all practical effects. Let me find the name of that real quick. Got a screener for it, and it just premiered on Screenbox. And if y'all don't have Screenbox, I highly recommend getting Screenbox because they've been taken over by Bloody Disgusting, so they run it now. And the movies they're getting on there are just fucking killer. Right now, they're neck and neck with Shudder in terms of quality. They might be a little bit better on certain things as of right now, with like really obscure weird shit. But the movie I'm talking about is called Subject, and it's by Tristan Barr. He's out of Australia, and I think this is his first like full length film, and it's really good, like sci-fi horror, like real claustrophobic feeling. And there's like a creature in there. This guy's locked up like He was in the middle of going to jail, about to serve his sentence or whatever, and these scientists like pull him out of a van and kill everybody in the van, and then lock him in this fucking room, and they want him to like monitor this thing that's in this other room and make notes about it and stuff. And the creature's like super fucking creepy looking, all practical, and real nightmarish looking. So yeah, it's out right now. Subject.
Cool.
Man, I was. They just added Pandorum to Hulu, and I just watched that today for the first time in like I don't know. It's been for fucking ever.
Good movie,
and that's,
man.
I mean, that's all practical effects. Like it's all like makeup shit with like the monsters in that, and like watching that, you just marvel at the fact that thing got made, because like that movie had to have like a serious fucking budget, and like
hell yeah, there's like
and it is
people in that shit.
Very much a niche. Like but it's fucking, because it's just so weird. Like it's got kind of the martial arts stuff thrown in there. It's
and
such a strange like
mishmash,
too. And everyone is like acting their fucking asses off. Like it's just it's like everyone is like dialed up to 11. Like it's like this, the intensity of it is like, it just makes it kind of like, I mean, like almost like comically surreal at points, but it's just fucking great. It's just such a fun ride.
Yeah,
we need more movie. Shit like that.
It's got fucking America's Gary Oldman, Ben Foster.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Ben Foster fucking kills it in that. And then Dennis,
that motherfucker kills it in everything.
Is it Dennis Quaid that plays the fucking psycho? I think.
Yeah.
Like like that's like a head scratcher at that point, because you're just like, how the fuck did they get Dennis Quaid to do this? And he just like slays it. Like, he's just.
Oh man, that's that like period. Dennis Quaid did a shit ton of movies in the mid 2000s.
He must have had some tax problems or something.
That
Yeah.
man was killing it. No, dude,
but that was like that era in Ben Foster's career where he would just fucking take anything. And then
oh yeah, he swung and missed, like not like as an actor, but he chose some crap projects. Ben Foster did. But.
And then that Daryl Dixon dude is like in it briefly. Like, he's
what? I don't even remember that.
Yeah, he's from like a different crew, and the guy runs into him and he gets murdered like almost immediately. So it's like he's in the movie for 5 minutes just talking like crazy talk, and like.
Oh, you mean Norman Reedus? Yeah.
Yeah, Norman Reedus, and he's like dumping like engine grease out of, for some reason there's a fucking valve in the wall that you could just like spigot fucking engine grease onto yourself to try to cover up his human smell, and it just didn't really work very well for him apparently.
Yeah, I remember that.
Norman Reedus would always be Scud from Blade 2 to me. I'm Scud, and I fucking hate him in Blade 2. I'm not a big fan of his stuff. Like I like Boondock Saints, but when I revisit and stuff, it doesn't really hold up that well.
Yeah, it is one of those movies that,
in high school, it's like, oh man, you gotta see Boondock Saints. It was like a cult film, and it is still a cult film, but everybody's like, Boondock Saints is the best movie ever made. And I finally watched it. I'm like, it's okay. It's pretty good, but it's definitely not the best movie ever made.
Willem Dafoe is the most memorable part in it. And like before my knee surgery, I would like regularly, when intoxicated, perform There Was a Firefight, where like he drops to his knees and throws his hands aloft. I just can't confidently drop to my left knee anymore. So like that I had to retire that bit. But like fucking I love Willem Dafoe in general, like in anything. Like, my dream is to fucking cast him if ever a movie is made of a book of mine. Like, he's my dream cast. Like, anyone else can come or go.
Oh man, that's wow, yeah.
When he's in a phase of his career where he's just making crazy shit now. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen that Inside, like the movie that's like I'm sure was shot during COVID, because it's just him and he's just trapped inside this fucking luxury apartment that he's trying to rob art from.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, same here.
It's like a weird, like, because I think like it starts out as like, you think you know what you're getting into, that it's this kind of like heist, kind of, like survival horror story, because once he gets locked in, it's just like this slow grind. But I think like at its core, like it's like a story about the kind of the struggle of like creating, of like making art. And his whole relationship with, like, as an art thief, is this whole thing that he started out as an artist, and like, and he's reconciled like stealing this shit, because nobody should be like just locking this stuff away, like these, like the people who can afford it. But like, over the course of the movie, I mean, I don't want to like spoiler it, but like, to me, it's like, it turns into this thing that's like kind of a journey about like, the kind of the struggle of creating, and like, and kind of almost like incidentally, like winding up with a product, like it's I don't know. I mean, I recommend it. I think it's like, it's a really strange, like, it's it's a really strange film that kind of like is, like, I started out watching it and I thought it was going to be like kind of a throwaway thing, and I feel like I've got to go back and watch it again now, because like the first like third to half of the movie, I wasn't paying that close of attention, because I didn't know that like the movie I was watching was much more serious than like what I thought I was getting into.
I like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
They did a crap job advertising it, to be honest with you, because it looked like a pandemic movie.
Yeah, it's like it's not marketed well at all, and I think that happens a lot too. Like, I don't think, I think what happens is, if you have a movie that has like an intellectual heart to it, but like is like ostensibly like, you know, something that's like a little bit more palatable, that they're going to lean into that palatable shit, and like those of us who aren't really looking for that are,
Yeah.
are not going to like necessarily find that the promotion appealing.
Sure,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I hate when they cut trailers like that. I try to avoid trailers for anything because nowadays they show so much, it kind
Oh,
of just ruins it, you know?
if I ever watch a
Oh,
trailer
yeah.
at all, like my approach is always that like I'll, you know, if I know I want to see a movie anyway, I won't watch a trailer at all. If I'm on the fence or whatever, I will watch it up to the point where I decide that I want to see the movie, and then I will immediately stop watching the trailer. And that's, you know, usually before the halfway point I've made that decision, because like, yeah, if you watch it to the end, it's just like, you know, I didn't ask for the fucking cliff notes of the movie, man. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make me want to watch the movie. Like, sell the movie. Don't give me the whole movie now.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to stick to the magazines and stuff like Rue Morgue or Fangoria or something like that. I read a write up on a movie that I want to see. I won't watch the trailer. And I'm like, all right, cool. This adds mystery to it because it's not like giving every fucking thing away.
yeah.
Right.
And you look at old trailers, and they understood that. Like they, you know, the like I love watching trailers for like movies from like the 80s and 90s, where it's like, you know, that they understood that like that what they were shooting for was the tease.
Hmm.
Like it was
Right.
like
Yeah.
it was to entice you, and they might, you know, they might throw you like a bone in terms of like, you know, like there might be something really cool in the movie that they give you just a little taste of, but they're not even going to necessarily give you those parts in order. So there's no way you're like making a sensible whole out of that. It's just like, fuck, this shit looks crazy. I need to see this.
Yeah, it will
Right.
totally entice you to you want to go watch it. When like, all right, cool. Well, this happened here. This is all the big explosions. All right, so I don't need to watch this. I'm good. You know, the older ones are like definitely
Yeah.
entice you to go fucking see the shit.
Yeah. It is funny how it's like I haven't really thought about it quite like that, but it is. It's like trailers are cliff notes of movies now instead of, a teaser. And it's
I think it kind of appeals to everybody's like I guess having like all the social media in their phones, like our attention spans have dwindled, you know. Even myself, like and I'm old school and stuff like that, like, you know, I was out before all this shit was here. Like I noticed my attention span is not what it used to be, and I got to try to control that because that's bullshit. Like I like being bored sometimes, you know, but with these phones and shit, like it
Yeah.
ruins your attention span. It's horrible.
yeah. I have to admit the same, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when I, there was like a gap where I was doing very little reading for several years, because I was just, when I first started working in my field, it was, you know, I was just fucking ground down. Like I just didn't have the energy for that stuff. And when I first started coming back to reading in earnest, like, you know, you become aware of the effect that stuff has had on you, because you're just like, you know, it's like you're looking at your phone every like 5 pages.
Hmm.
And it took time to like discipline myself to the point where I could like sit and just like immerse myself in a book again for like, you know, a couple of hours at a time. Like,
Right.
Mm.
so, but yeah, it is like that stuff slips away from you and you don't really know that it's going.
Yeah, it's so important to actually read a book, like it, you know, just for like communication skills and vocabulary and everything else like that. It's so important just to sit there and fucking read. And I love audiobooks too now. Audiobooks are great, but there's just nothing like sitting down and reading a book, and then you're trying to check your phone every, like you said, 5 pages or so, and that just fucks
And
everything up.
yeah, just allowing yourself to get lost in a world like that, you know, that like it's a relationship, right, between you and the author. Like they're concocting it for you, but you're also creating a version of it in your mind as you go. Like
Hmm.
that's such an amazing thing. And like, yeah, you know, just to like, it's, yeah, I think it's worth the effort to maintain your ability to sustain that, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Yeah.
totally miss being bored. You know what I mean? Like being truly bored. Like I'm like I kind of look back on like, man, I fucking miss that shit, the nostalgia of it all. You know, like I remember where I didn't have shit I could just fucking pick up and Google everything in the fucking world. I sat here and stared at a fucking wall. I was bored, but I kind of miss that. You know,
Yeah.
Sure.
technology
True.
is cool and
Yeah.
everything, but it's if we ever lose all this like technology, say like we just fucking lose everything like electric wise and power grid wise, we're fucked. You know? Yeah, we are fucked.
Do you think there's a difference between listening to something and reading something? Like I
Oh,
know people who are like listening to something on Audible is not. You haven't read that book. Like
hmm.
yeah, the fuck you did.
Yeah, that's still reading. Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah. I
shit.
mean, it's not my thing, but I don't gatekeep that shit. Like, I think, some people just gravitate to, to like listening to books more than reading them, and that's cool.
I think. Well, hold up. I guess let me agree with like definitively. No, you haven't read it. I haven't read it, but I have consumed. I have been told the story. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
and that's what matters.
Yeah, you're still consuming it and stuff. It's
Yeah. I
still
mean,
like absorbing.
there's different opportunities. Like, if I'm reading a book and like something hits hard and I want to like back up a few pages and like, really dig into that or whatever, then
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
so there's things that, there's things that different media like provide that other media don't. So like, right, like there's not like with an audiobook, I mean, I guess you could back it up, but I don't think that's a thing people regularly do.
You know
Right.
what? Dude, that's an interesting point, man, because I'm always harping on how I think comic books are my favorite of the storytelling mediums as far as like the opportunity that you have within the medium. Like I think comic books are the most you could pull off the most complex, the most layered, the most progressive shit possible in a comic book. And
Hmm.
that's part of why is because there's no set pace to a comic book. You can stop and look back and flip back and forward like anytime you want.
Right.
Whereas a movie is fucking dictated to you, 24 frames a second, roughly, whatever. But yeah, what you just said about audiobooks is like an audiobook renders a book into something that has its pace dictated to you.
Right.
And I've never thought about that in that way. Because, yeah, you're right. Like, when you're reading it, the pace is all on you, bro. Like, you can stop and go back or just stop and digest, whatever. But, yeah, an audiobook, like, it's rolling.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah, I
does
tend to
take
lose
that part
myself
of
with
it away
those.
from you.
I'll be listening to it and like, what the fuck just happened? Like, that's the only thing I have on is the audiobook from my work truck or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? And I have to go back and like, it didn't absorb. It's like, what the fuck? When I read something, I'm absorbing it a lot better, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get that. Yeah, I can
So
get
I've
that.
only, I'll be real. I've only listened to two audiobooks ever. And like they're
All
audiobooks
right.
that I own on CD. Like I've never downloaded audio.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
Well, and
own
also, I mean, I
CDs.
talk a lot of shit, but I haven't. I don't think I've listened to a single audio book.
Okay, so
I
so
just
I own
I'm a
CDs of
podcaster, and I listen to
Hmm.
a lot of short stories, in audio form.
Right.
I own CDs of World War Z and of Cormac McCarthy's The Road. And the World War
Nice.
Z like audiobook, the reason why I bought it was because, I heard like it's a crazy audiobook because it's written as an oral history. So
Mm.
it's a huge fucking cast. Like Mark Hamill is on there. Fucking Henry Rollins is actually on the World War Z like
Oh
audiobook.
shit.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
he's
Didn't
like
know that.
he plays a fucking mercenary. Like it's so there's like all these different people on it, and so it's like it's like a super entertaining like
Oh shit, are you
audiobook.
talking about does Rollins play like the dude who ends up working for the rich celebrities
Yes,
on the island? Oh fuck.
yes,
That's like one of my favorite chapters. I love that
yeah.
damn book.
So yeah, and it's Rollins fucking reading that shit. It's fucking great. So
That's awesome.
but like, yeah. So the other one I had was The Road, Cormac McCarthy, and I have this vivid memory of I was listening to that like one winter, and I was Christmas shopping for my wife to buy her like a mini fridge for her classroom. And and I had read the book, so I knew what was coming, like when I was approaching the end. And so so, this is like mid-December in Ohio, maybe like a light dusting of snow coming down, and I'm fucking pulling into a Target parking lot and just like fucking ugly crying in my car, listening to the last chapter of the fucking Road.
Oh yeah.
It was so fucked up.
Okay, no spoilers, bro. I still have not read The Road. I haven't seen The Road.
Oh, it's heavy.
Shit, man.
So
Yeah,
heavy.
it is
Tell
heavy.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure it is. I mean, it seems very heavy. Seems like that's the whole thing.
Yeah. I think the movie stays pretty close with the book. I just
the
recently did the
movie is-
audiobook, but
Yeah, the movie is very good. Like, it's and it does stay like, I mean, I don't think not everything is in there, but there's, there's a lot. Like
Well, what, the
it's
audiobook
faithful.
censored, or are you talking about the movie?
We're talking about the movie, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the movie is solid. Like it's, it goes hard.
yeah. It's
Nice.
it's heavy, very heavy.
And there's something about like the visual medium for that too, because it's like, it on some level, like what you're experiencing is a story of like deprivation and of people like essentially like slowly starving to death, and like to see that like visually represented, like it's powerful. Like
Right on, man. Yeah, I got to read that. I got to see that. I guess well, yeah, we were talking about that in the board chat the other couple weeks ago about how the guy who did The Road is adapting another one of Cormac's joints into a movie.
Yeah, he's the one. Well, they were co-writing the screenplay to Blood Meridian together, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so like Cormac died while they were working on that screenplay, but like my guess is it's still gonna go, like so it's and I mean that dude can do Bleak, that's for sure. So like we'll see how it goes, but yeah, fuck.
Yeah, that'd be killer.
Awesome.
And if last I've heard, that's still a go. So that'd be fucking cool.
Yeah.
We need some. This year's been kind of rough on like really good horror movies and really good movies in general this year. Like my top 10 for this year is gonna be a rough one unless some cool shit comes out between now and then. It's like, fuck,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a rough one, man. Like all my other friends are saying this too. Like I'm not just the only one. Like it's not been a great year for horror when it comes to like really good shit. Like last year was there was good horror all over the place. It was hard to get my top 10 down. This year is gonna be like I gotta go look at my
build your top 10.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that and I know there are a few really awesome films about to come out this year. Well, they should be awesome anyways. I've been let down so many times recently with stuff, so I'm hoping the rest of the year gets better.
I'm not even sure if I've seen a horror movie that came out this year yet, man. Like what's out? Has anything been good to you?
Let me see. I'm about to go back on my internet movie database thing here where I keep track of all this stuff. But I think the best thing I've seen so far this year is a horror movie, but it's also like an action movie as well. And it's extremely gory. I believe it's Korean. It's called Project Wolf Hunter, I think it is. I gotta look on
Okay,
here.
that sounds dope.
And that one's streaming on Screenbox as well. And
What's that shit
yeah,
about?
it's like this giant ship of like convicts being watched over by like cops and everything. They're trying to get them to a certain spot, like, and get them all evacuated and sent into custody and shit. And they got a plan to take over the fucking boat. So the convicts are gonna take over the boat and everything. But there's something down at the bottom of this boat none of them know about. That's where the horror element comes in. I don't want to say anything else than that, but there's something badass at the bottom of that fucking boat, and it's insane. It's super, super gory. The fight
It's
scenes
like
are great.
Korean action style.
Yeah, yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, I'm in.
Extremely fast paced, gory, just balls to the
Oh
wall,
yeah,
fucking awesome. And I think
awesome.
that's my favorite so far this year. And like I said, I gotta look back
Man,
at my list, but
I'm looking at my IMDb ratings for the last year, and like seriously, the only like quote like I would say falls under the banner of horror that I've seen this year that I rated highly was Beau is Afraid.
I haven't seen that yet. I haven't
Is
seen
that
that.
definitely a horror movie, man?
I mean, I guess I'm probably pretty broad on that, definition. I would say that there's that, I mean, I would say it qualifies. Like it's
Cool.
and I don't know that everyone's going to love it as much as I do. I've been studying like psychology and psychiatry my entire adult life. I've been working in psychiatry 16 years,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
a lot of Beau is Afraid like really digs into, like that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like, and I would say like, I mean, as a psychiatric prescriber, there's stuff that like, it would be easy to take offense to in that.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
I don't like, I'm like, I mean, I absolutely respect like kind of the point of view that's, but there's so much about it to me that's just kind of like, like the problems that I've had with with psychiatric practice by and large is that we generally it so I would say like the standard in the field is to kind of ignore systemic issues in favor of like individual kind of stuff, and there's a lot of that in the movie where it's just like like kind of the dark comedy of like this sort of therapeutic language of like telling you like how to improve your life when like someone is living in like a fucking war zone,
Mhm.
like
Oh
and
shit.
so
Okay.
and so like there's a certain sort of unreliable narrative problem too where you're just like are these things that we're seeing through Beau's eyes like actually really happening, or is this just the perspective of someone who's afflicted with this degree of like anxiety and whatever? But
Hmm.
regardless of all that, you're just like his life is super fucked up, so you don't you like the whole it's like the whole thing of telling people to like people like corporate jobs, instead of like providing like humane conditions to their workers, bringing in someone to teach them mindfulness. It's just
Mhm.
like it shifts the blame. It's like it creates the idea that if you can't if you're struggling, it's like a personal failing and it's not like a systemic failing, as opposed to like no, it's just like, hey, if you're being like ground into dust and fucking like working your ass off and constantly being told that you're behind and like all of that kind of shit, like sometimes the normal human response to like to shit is to be fucking anxious and depressed. Like,
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
it's not a pathology. It's just like, no, this is a normal fucking interpretation of the events that are taking place around you. Like, you know, like we're not going to fix this as long as this shit is still in place.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it kind of, to me, like it goes into a lot of that kind of stuff. And so I've talked to the people I've talked to have seen it. uh, you know I need more feedback, because like I wonder whether I'm like uniquely predisposed to love this movie, so
Right on.
I
Man, I
definitely need
wonder
to
if
check that one out. That's one that's kind of slipped by the radar. I know about it, but I keep forgetting to fucking watch it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
there's another
Yeah,
one
I
too
mean,
this year.
I like.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Oh, I was saying there's another one this year too. I forgot to tell you all about. This one's a highly, highly divided movie. You either love it or you fucking hate it. There's really no in between here. And that's called Skinamarink, which is streaming on Hulu right
Oh,
now.
word, man. I
yeah.
like Skinamarink, dude. I
I haven't
like
I
watched
loved
it
that.
it.
yet, like, but we just got Hulu again, so I plan to watch it. I've got it marked, but yeah, I haven't gotten to it.
Yeah, that one they were like, fuck.
Like nobody in the crew who's liked it or who's seen it liked it yet, except for me. But Michael hasn't seen it yet, and I feel like he would be the one who might be into it.
It definitely ain't for everybody. It is. It's such a divider.
Maybe I'll watch it
not
tomorrow.
A movie for everybody, man. For me, I like. You said earlier, Brandon, about some movie. About trash humpers that you're not even sure if you would call it a movie.
Right.
I like those kind of movies.
Yeah.
The ones that are hard to place and that don't really necessarily have like an obvious cohesive narrative structure. That's because a movie don't have to be that. A movie ain't a book. It's a movie is whatever 70 to 90 minutes of sight and sound, and you can lean into that and just make it purely 70 to 90 minutes of sight and sound. And Skinamarink is that. And for me, man, I don't know, it was scary as fuck, dude. Like it just kept me on edge the whole time. I mean, I am real high. I get way into movies. Because I want to be scared, So I invest in a movie. I get real fucking high, and I try. So I plug myself into that space, and I really try and sink into it and let it affect me. And Skinamarink damn sure affected me, man. Like I was fucking scared, dude. Like they were about 30 minutes in, I just developed this. I wanted to have the remote in my hand because I wanted to be able to. I just wanted to pause it, like all the time. I was just like, fuck! I just want to pause this so like I don't get scared again. So that there's not another jump scare. Hey, look, there are a lot of jump scares, right?
No,
but that's part of the experience. It's a whole lot of like really quiet, creepy space interspersed with terrifying, loud moments. Like that shit, I thought it was fucking great.
Yeah, and if you watch it in the like right circumstances, say with the volume up really loud in a dark room by yourself, dude, this one will really fuck with you. It It reminds me of like some childhood like trauma stuff, growing up like before we knew that the boogeyman wasn't real and he wasn't in your closet and stuff, you would, think all kinds of crazy shit. And it took me right back there to that time period, like where anything was possible. And it reminded me a lot of like the house I lived in when I was a kid, like, because I think this was supposed to take place in the 90s, early 90s and stuff. I'm like, man, that looks so fucking familiar to me. Like, this looks like my room,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I maybe am making this up, but I feel like I found the dude saying this in an interview. But the feeling that I got when watching Skinamarink was that like when you're a little kid and you maybe you fellas had the same memory that I do, but like I remember being real small, and when you would wake up in the middle of the night. And just the fact that the house was quiet and dark and it was kind of hard to find anybody because you were small and the house was large and you kind of get lost living like in your own house because you were fucking tiny, And that feeling of like waking up in the middle of the night and you can't find your family. That is like the whole vibe of that movie, And I think I swear I saw an interview where dude was like, the vibe I was going for with Skinamarink is like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't find anybody. And I was like, damn, bro, like you killed it. 'Cause that's exactly what it feels like.
100%. That is the feeling.
Yeah, it's just got this childhood nightmare quality to it, and you can't quite put your finger on, what makes it exactly so bothersome, but it just is, man. I thought it was great, and I look forward to seeing more from the dude. I think he'll do more cool shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air too. There's been some kind of copycat sort of movies like Skinamarink past couple of years. More of the real atmospheric, real narrative type thing, and they've been pretty decent too if you're into that kind of shit. But I think Skinamarink's like the king of that stuff right now, and yeah, it's kind of starting like a new chapter in the horror genre, I think, with this, like, what do they call it, like non-liminal or something like that. That's what they're calling this type of horror, I
Oh,
believe.
sure, yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of garbage, you know. You get a lot of people that think they'll watch Skinamarink and they'll think, oh, well, this means if I've got 80 minutes worth of footage,
Mm-hmm.
I can call it a movie because they didn't really get it because they look at it and they just see like 80 minutes of staticky nonsense and they're like, I can do that, you know.
Yeah,
And
I
so
can
we'll
make that in
get
30 minutes.
right, and we'll get shit like that because of it. There'll be like waves of people who think they've done something cool,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But hopefully there'll be some really cool shit come out of it as well. I'd love to see people lean into abstract horror, you know, fucking art house horror films.
Yeah, totally. Bring me some more of that fucking David Lynch shit. You know what I mean? Bring me the weird
Yeah,
shit. That's what I miss.
exactly,
I like the
exactly.
shit. I don't figure out like in the first 10 minutes. I want the weird shit.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Well, guys, it's been fucking fun talking with y'all. Before we go and stuff, would y'all want to plug VoidCon one more time, just the basics, that way, you know, date and everything like that, for my listeners can, you know,
Sure,
remember.
man. Michael, you want to close it out this time?
Oh no, go for it. Because I don't know. What's the fucking website?
Oh shit. Well, you know, it's one of those. It's like a hard website to rattle off in audio because it's a big cartel. But it would be actually fuck all that. You just Google Castaigne Publishing. Castaigne is Castaigне. Castaigne Publishing, and you'll find Castaigne's website on Big Cartel, and then you will poke around and see the VoidCon page and all the info about it and the fucking photos and bios of all the weird guys showing up and the place where you can buy tickets. Um, VoidCon is going down Huntington, West Virginia, October 13th, 14th at the Hilton DoubleTree downtown. We got filmmakers, we got writers, we got visual artists, we got performance artists, we got all kinds of weird shit. We promise something that you can't get at any other con.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna have this in the show notes too, so there'd be like some links down there and stuff. So if people don't
Sweet.
check out show notes, check out these show notes because there'd be some valuable shit in those. I try to always put some links and stuff in there and stuff. So
Cool,
excellent.
man. Much appreciated, Brandon. It's been fucking good chatting with you, dude.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
It's been fun.
It was nice meeting you, Michael, and always good chatting with you, Evan. And we should all do this again, man. This was fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, y'all have a good rest of your weekend and stuff, and we'll talk again.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Good
Later.
night.